Today we're talking with Omowale Adewale, a champion vegan boxer who's had a lot of influence in promoting health and fitness within his community. He is the author of a new book, An Introduction to Veganism and Agricultural Globalism. Welcome, Omowale.
Thank you for having me, Danielle.
In a nutshell, can you tell me what this book is all about?
The book is broken into two parts, and starting with veganism. So essentially, I want to help people transition into a new lifestyle where there's no meat in their diet. There is also increased compassion, better fitness, and also an understanding of exactly what kind of impact they might have on the global system. And in the second part of my book, it goes into agricultural globalism. So we're still discussing food, but we're also talking about GMOs, genetically modified organisms. That is essentially what people might call frankenfoods, and how that impacts not only in the West in terms of the U.S., Canada, and the U.K., but also that impact and that weight, that burden in developing nations and in places Southeast Asia and Africa and Latin America. So I give introductions into both of those pieces to give people a little tidbit exactly how their justice, their social justice, and their awareness can be raised up another level.
A lot of people become vegan so as to not harm animals. But you say in your book, or at least this is my understanding, you say that that's only a small part of the big picture. We have to consider that every time we go to the market, our food choices have an impact on the global community. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not exactly, not quite, because I still believe when I became vegan, it was important for me to do it for ethical reasons, different than I made the transition, different from when I made the transition at 15 and becoming a vegetarian. When I became vegetarian, it was all about health, but still, as a secondary understanding, I was going to be having less of an impact on animals. So it was still social justice at that time. When I became vegan, someone just prompted me and said, "Why are you not vegan?" And I thought about it, and I immediately, because they were animal rights activists,
Mm-hmm.
and it made a lot of sense to me. And I said, "Yeah, you're right. Exactly. I have to be, if I'm going to be for social justice, I have to respect that aspect as well in terms of abstaining from harming animals in other ways in terms of milk, dairy in general, and also eggs as well, and in other ways as well. So it wasn't just to it's essentially in addition to people's activism in animal rights. I wanted people to steer away and look at their own species, look abroad, but also at the same time, look at other animals in other places. So whatever we consume in here, we're definitely going to have an impact on other places around the world. So it was important. It was very significant. It was vital that I touch on that and go into it within that second half of the book.
And it seems to me that what you're saying then is that it's if we care so much about animals, and we should, but we have to look at what's happening across the globe. We have to be compassionate about people as well and what's happening to them, and the destructions of land and the people who are raising our food. Is that right?
Exactly. Essentially, what I say in my book is we're going to have it's going to be a detriment of harm to animals. Anytime there is an increase in capitalism, that means that more animals. For example, more mules have to tote more rice, more grain. There has to be more cows, more slaughtering. Anytime we're talking about capitalism, especially globalism, where we are essentially not just limited to one nation, but we are focusing on developing nations, developed nations. We are having an impact on animals, but also on your own species. So that is very important. And I'm sure animal rights activists, I mean, people from time to time might say, oh, my humans, I can't believe them. But they go at home and they kiss their loved ones and they say, oh, I love my own species, at the same time. So we need to be consistent. I'm saying that we need to be consistent in our activism and also in terms of what we believe in.
And understanding the whole picture,
Right.
who has the right to grow what and where and what can be done to our food without our consent or our knowledge. That's also a part of your story too, isn't it?
Right, definitely. It's very, very important that we have not just bits and pieces, but we have a global picture. What's going on in India, it affects us. What goes on in Sri Lanka affects us, and all over the world. It's going to affect us. That's where we're getting our food. We might get our, a lot of times, our chia seeds, different places. Our nuts and a lot of our foods, processed and unprocessed.
Your book also has recipes and tips on how to get your kids to start eating healthy and how to start exercising from an early age and sort of embrace this whole idea of total fitness from an early age instead of waiting until they get older and out of shape and sick. And can you talk a little bit more about this?
So when the book, starts off after my introduction, I enter into speaking about my awareness study that I've had with for 2 years. My awareness study with youth that I work with to a wide range of young people, except for the fact that they're mostly the people of color.
Mm-hmm.
They're young kids of color, and some of them they're all school age.
And what is the name of that program? I thought that was an interesting program that you're involved in.
It's my Rebel program, which stands for Rallying, Educating, and Building Effective Leadership.
Mm-hmm.
It teaches boxing, martial arts, and also helps young people understand, make better health choices. Essentially, I don't tell them, to what to eat. I provide, and I believe a lot of times, essentially, this works a lot better. I provide them with the resources and the knowledge, and they make better choices, themselves. Of course, they're 100% vegan. I can only make, vegan, choices or recommendations, for them. But I essentially, it starts off with this awareness study that looks at what are they eating for breakfast. For 2 years, I've asked young people, what do you eat? And in my book, I go into, not too much detail, but pretty much the crux of it is, they're not eating healthy. They're not eating healthy if they are eating. And then I go in a little bit more. And before I go into more of the short history of the fast food industry and how it relates to young people in America, I also give some tips on how you can engage your kids in healthy exercise. And I think it's important. The same way you might caution your kids in drugs and sex. It's important that food be probably even more important. That's something that they're going to actually be engaged in on a day-to-day basis for the rest of their life. Whatever they eat, it's going to be so important. But also fitness. Fitness is so important. There's so many people. I know so many people who have come to me who said, "Oh, I would never be vegetarian. Oh, I could never be vegan." They're vegan now. So many people they're vegan, and I don't want people. I've seen it I don't want people to come to me, later on, in their 30s, 40s, and 50s, and saying they want to make a transition. Then is not to say that's too late. It's not too late. Many people have made that transition, but start your young people off, essentially early, as it, but on time. I would really say, but on time with healthy steps. Engage fitness, just with simple things. So I give simple examples, or simple instructions in terms of, do push-ups, do calisthenics, which includes push-ups using your body weight to engage these exercises, and do the exercise with the kids. And they don't have to be long. They can really be 5 minutes. They can be 5-minute long, 5-minute stretches, and it should be daily. Some days you kind of take a rest, but you want to have a regular routine.
And you tell, one of the important things to mention here, I think, is that you don't ever start children off on a grueling schedule. They have to, they have growing bodies, and growing bones, and you really need to start them off quite slowly. And you talk about that, about not overdoing it with your kids. And you can also burn them out by trying to get them to do too much too soon.
Definitely. They become after a while, they become, apathetic, or they run away from, everything. Just the idea of doing exercises, they wouldn't want to do it. I make my exercises for my kids. Sometimes, they might not want to do it because they want to do something in place of it. I have my kids saying, I want to do these exercises. I give them basically 4 routines to do, every day. So they'll choose their own 4 sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
and I make it so short where they're like, there's no problem. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I can do this, and I can get this out of the way. It's not an argument. It's much shorter. I would say it's a quarter of a 30-minute segment, on TV. So it's very short, and I have them do it 2 rounds. So I might have them do 2 rounds. They might even do 3. They might do 4 rounds. It really depends on it depends on what day it is. If I felt like they didn't do anything, they were around. They was inside all day. It was a rainy day, or I felt that they were a little bit rambunctious, and they want to get some energy out.
Mm-hmm.
So let them engage in some fitness. And that might wind them down as well. But we can start off real easy. Even in my book, I say, look, even if your child you can just have your child do 1 push-up. I guarantee you have your child do 1 push-up. You pat them on the back and say, wow, you do 1 push-up, and then that's it. The next day, they're gonna want to do push-ups. They're gonna want to do 1. They're gonna want to do 2. They're gonna want to do a little bit more, because you're taking it really easy and really slow. You don't have to push. You don't have to push them, and that's the benefit. That's the joy of being young and starting off. Like if you're going into it, like if you were going into a job, you wouldn't expect that somebody be overwhelmed. You wouldn't be overwhelmed with so much work that you've never seen in your life. The same thing is as a young person, you start off really slowly. But they gravitate to it really quickly.
And you also cook with your kids, right?
Yes, it's important. I don't go into it too much in this book. I mean, there's so much time to do another one.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's incredibly important. I know you've mentioned this before, and it's definitely true that whatever they're helping to make, they're going to eat it. And they're going to love that process. They always love that process. They always want to help. And I want them to keep, because they keep you on your toes. They keep engaging you. Maybe put this in, maybe, add these, or, I don't want these. I don't want this. And then I might say, well, you've never had this before. Maybe you should try, this cauliflower broccoli. But my kids, they've tried so many vegetables. They've tried, so it's tough. Maybe they haven't tried a rutabaga, but I want them to try, every single, type of vegetable, that comes into the home. that is so important to parenting. I think cooking, and that's for boys and girls, because I don't believe in gender conformity. I think it's important that boys essentially need to see their father, cooking, and they need to learn that same skill set, because they shouldn't be dependent upon anyone for their cooking or for their basic needs. Cooking is a basic need, or preparing foods is a basic need. But also girls to see their fathers cooking, because it's important that they're going to choose a mate, and if they're going to choose a mate, at least they know that, oh well, my mate needs to have this set of skills. They need to have this set of skills, and cooking needs to be one. Preparing foods needs to be one.
That's wonderful. And cooking is such a creative act, and children are by nature creative creatures. So that's a very good time to start teaching a kid to cook. And I've always said that teaching a child to cook is one of the best tools that you can give them to prepare them for life. And I appreciate that you're doing that. Can you tell us where someone can purchase your book, and what other links and projects you'd like our followers to know about?
Well, I would love for people to visit omowale.org. That's OMOWALE.org. And they can find more details. Actually, I have that's to purchase the book, but also they could find out more information about me. Like December 5th, I'm actually having an MMA match, mixed martial arts match, and then December 8th, I am going to be having my first book signing. Is going to be happening at V Spot in NYC. It's new. There's 2 V Spots. This is a Latin vegan restaurant, so it's incredible. It's awesome. The first location was in Brooklyn, and the second location is going to be in Lower Manhattan. This is in the East Village, so it's very accessible to all the 5 boroughs. So even if you're coming in from Staten Island on the ferry, it's right there in Lower Manhattan. So it's going to be a fun time. Of course, we're going to have some food. There's going to be people can order food at V Spot, and especially if they're new to it. And we're going to have some discussion about the book and talk about agricultural globalism. We'll talk about youth, cooking. And what are some of the reasons why people actually, adopt a vegan lifestyle? More than just, I would say, just for health reasons, or just for because they believe in, they're compassionate. But there's so many other reasons as well, and I think it's important that we have this discussion.
Okay, Omowale, it was a pleasure meeting with you. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Please don't get hurt in this competition. I always worry about you when you have a match. And I will put these links up on the website so people can find them. And I do want to mention that you can also go to Amazon.com and purchase your book. And you have it in an ebook format and a print format. And thank you so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure.
Thank you, Danielle. Appreciate you having me.
Okay.